Behind the songs you know and love, there's often a musician that you've never heard of, but you've felt his or her impact before. Today's guest is Mark Hill, one of Nashville's most trusted bass players. From a small farming town in southern Illinois to more than 600 recording sessions a year, Mark has helped define the sounds of artists like Carrie Underwood, Reba McEntire, Keith Urban, The Civil Wars, Eric Church, and much more. He's a 5-time ACM nominee, a 2-time ACM Bass Player of the Year. He's the first call session player, and proof that sometimes the groove matters more than the spotlight. This is Mark Hill.
Who else been on so far?
We had Monroe. We had
Richie Sessions.
Richie Sessions. That was an amazing one.
Oh, wow.
Do you know Richie?
I know who it is. Yeah.
Okay. And then we've had Rivers.
Nice.
Who else have we had?
There's a guy that's easy to talk to.
Rob Dennis.
Yeah, we talked to Rob. That was great.
So you are running the full gamut. I love it.
Matt McKinney, one of my friends, songwriter.
Yep.
Went to Georgia with us.
Yeah. We're having Tom Douglas on next month.
Dude.
That's at least we spoke
That's
to him
strong,
last
yeah.
month, and
That's really strong.
he said to reach out. So actually, we need to reach out today.
You guys should get Sinclair.
We would love to have Sinclair.
Yeah, I mean, because she is, I know you guys don't know her, but talk about wise for her years.
Yeah.
Smart cat.
Yeah, you know, a lot of these conversations have ended up being kind of like a living room conversation. You know, it's not, hey, man, tell me about that lyric. How did you land on that? It's just like, tell me about what's going on. But, yeah, I mean, it's generally kind of stayed somewhat focused on the creative world.
Cool.
So
I've done a little bit of research, but I've already known you since we've worked, and then also through Monroe.
Yeah.
I have all my notes pretty much.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
ready to go here.
Yeah, that's
but
intriguing.
I think one of the ones we want to start out with is just kind of get to know your background, like where you came from, because I knew you came from Illinois, right?
Yeah.
What was the pull to Nashville? How did that start? How did music start in your life?
So my family had a little gospel band, and I started with them when I was 11. And they would, before I was in the band, they would rehearse in our house with this huge kitchen, and they would rehearse in there. And somebody had dropped a bass off to me, a little Mustang, which I now have a Mustang in the same color.
not the same bass.
Not the same bass, but I mean, I guess it could be. But
Yeah, it's commemorative.
The odds are pretty slim. But yes, somebody dropped it off, and I would just be sitting in my room while they rehearsed. And the guy that was playing bass for them was an adult, right? I was 11, maybe 10 at this time. Think about that for a minute. Little bitty guy, 10 years old. And so I'm in there, and they're rehearsing, and I'm playing. They don't know this, and I'm playing along with them. And the guy was screwing up, and I knew it. So I'd be like, he's not playing the right thing. So I walk in there and walk straight up. This guy's name's Carl. Walk right up to Carl and say, "That what you're playing there is not right." And my uncle, who was the kind of the leader guy, he kind of listened to me for a second, and he played it, and I showed him on my little bass, and they was like, "He's right. You should be playing that." And Carl was the sweetest guy. He was just like, "What in the hell?" You know.
You're 11?
I'm maybe 10, probably 10 at this time. And little guy, you know. So, and the Mustang is a 3/4 bass, and it swamped me still, you know. And so my uncle, after they left, my uncle stayed there, and he said, "Play for me." And so I sat there and played bass for a minute. And it came so naturally to me. I played piano a little bit, but the bass was just, man, when I saw that and I heard what it did inside a band, how it was the backbone and foundation. Of course, I didn't really understand why that was appealing to me, but, you know, that's what it was. I sat there and played for him, and he said, "Hey," and I was playing with my thumb. And my uncle knew enough. He said, "Hey, do like your fingers are walking. That's what the bass players do." And but I started doing that, and it was like, oh my God, that's so much easier. And it was just, boom, launched from right there.
So your foundation was from piano? You started in piano?
I started picking out songs that I'd heard in church. Like I had this little, I think it was called a harmony, this little organ. Like literally this wide, you know. Had a few keys on it, some push buttons over here. I can still see it, and my my sweet mom walked by my room one day, and I was playing the song we had sang in church and that was at like 6 or 7 years old. I just remembered it and could hear it. So, and she was like, "Oh, that's weird."
Do you have perfect pitch?
No, I've
relative,
good relative pitch.
Yeah.
And you know what, man? I'm kind of glad, because the guys I know that have intense perfect pitch, it kind of drives them a little crazy. Mm-hmm. And I tune down. I do alternate tunings all the time.
Okay.
So, especially, I have a bass that's set up. This is chasing a little bit, but I have it set up where it's the low side of a 5-string, but it's a 4-string bass, so it's B-E-A-D. So when I'm playing what would normally be an F, it's a C. So it's a fourth away.
Oh,
so it's a mind, you know what?
It's a baritone bass, basically.
Yeah, basically. It's just a way of getting the super low R&B stuff without having to play a 5-string, basically, because I like the spacing of the strings on the 4. But
now, does a 5-string? My understanding, I'm not a bass player, but my understanding of a 5-string is it's a completely different instrument.
No, not really. It just adds the low, another low string.
Okay, so it doesn't completely throw you.
It doesn't completely throw me, and I like them. I have a few, and guys request that stuff all the time. So it's just it's more a right hand thing where I rest my hand when I play my good old P basses or my jazz basses. There's a indent worn in them.
Right.
But on the 5-string, there's a string there.
Yeah, I would think that would
so
throw
it's
me.
Like, it throws my right hand a little bit. You just have to kind of
get used to it.
Yeah.
Now, does the Mustang get any airtime?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
So you still record with it?
Yeah. And again, it's not the same one, but it is exactly the same color and probably the same year.
Huh.
Roughly.
Okay.
So,
isn't that like a really cheap bass though?
It was their student bass.
But you still get great tones from it? Like, what do you use it for?
Monster bass tone. And you would think they would be softer and quieter because it's basically a miniature P bass pickup in there. And I remember when I bought it at a guitar show about 3 or 4 years ago, because I walked in and saw it, and I swear to you guys, I walked in the guitar show, and it's like the light of heaven is shining on this bass. I was just like, I went boom right to it. I was like, oh my God. And the guy was, I used $5,000 or something, and these were $200 basses when they came out. And I was working, he's from New York, and I know the store, and I was working on the guy. I was like, dude, can you come off this? I mean, here's kind of where I am, and he wouldn't budge, This was on Saturday, so the guitar show was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I went Saturday, and I had to go do something, and so I kind of left it and was like, all right, let me see where you are tomorrow, see if you sell it, And, I'm praying, don't sell it. So when I was gone, I was texting the guy and just kind of working on him, Hey man, let's get that little bass on the radio. I do stuff like that, and I sent him my website and just kept working on him, and I called him Sunday and I said, dude, if I buy that bass today, it's going to be on a record tomorrow that's going to be on the radio. Let's get that little bass on the radio. Wouldn't it be cool?
The leverage.
And he was like, okay, whatever. So he finally came down to what I wanted to do, so I went and bought it. Yeah.
Then Mark Hill, the negotiator.
Oh yeah, dude. Absolutely, man.
Something tells me you've used that more than once.
Yeah. Let's get that on the radio.
It's like, you want to find a good negotiator? Talk to a musician.
Yeah. It's a survival tactic.
Yeah, it
really.
is. It's built in.
Yeah.
So so going back, so you figured out, okay, man, this might be my thing, bass. What's the next thing? You're still 11 years old.
Okay, 11 years old, and that's a great question, because that was the moment my family came to Nashville to do a record. And I actually played on it at 11. I got a picture. I'll send you guys if you want to put it up. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I didn't eat for 2 or 3 days. I was so scared about recording in Nashville, because I've never been in a recording studio before, and back then in the studios there was this big light panel, like the size of a light you would see in a Target, those big panel lights, right? That turn red when they hit the red button. So everybody in the room knew you were in a record. So I'm just like, I would see that light come on, I'd just like, oh, shit, But they had supplemental musicians come in, some of which I still work with today.
That's cool.
How cool is that?
Mm-hmm.
And the guy that owned the studio, it was a studio in a house that still is there today, and I still work there. But the guy that owned it was a bass player. And so by the time we had run the first song, and I knew I could do it, I was off to the races, man. And I was asking for food because I was starving. They had to stop the session to feed me, you know. So I'm playing and just throwing down. And, man, I was playing some stuff. I've still got the records. And I listen to it every now and then going, wow, man, I was going for it. So they went and got the bass player upstairs. You know, they said, come check out this little kid. And he came down. They were all standing at the window. I still remember it, standing there watching me play, you know. But I watched those musicians, those supplemental guys, come in and write these numbers down and play these songs back to us in one take. I mean, we did the whole record in a day, you know, because we were doing vocals and everything on the fly, you know. And at 11 years old, I saw them do that, and I was like, what is that? And do you do that all the time? Like, is that a job, you know? And so we came back when I was 18, and we hired all studio guys because we wanted to elevate, you know. We actually were having airplay on the radio, and, you know, we were really wanting to launch. And Mike Brignardello, who I was just with last night, one of my mentors, played on our record.
What did Mike play?
Bass. Yeah, I didn't play this time. Okay. We wanted to get the good guys, you know.
So do you still keep up with Mike?
Well, I was with him last night. We hung out at a bass player's hang. And he's such a dear soul and dear friend to me. I told him last night, I said, Mike, I have a picture of you're sitting there in your bass chair and you're handing me your bass to check out. And you were so kind to me. And everybody in the session was so kind, you know, the session players. And I was like, at that point, I think I was 17. At that point, it was like, I don't want to play live. This is, and of course, I didn't even have a comprehension of the creativity I was going to get to enjoy in that. I just knew I wanted to be in this situation. I see these guys drive up to the session in their cars, and they come in all cool and, you know, put their phones on, just play these tunes back to us. And I was like, holy shit, can I do that? You know? And it was hyper type A focus from that day forward.
Oh.
So that kind of brings up, I remember I was in a conversation with a guy named Pat Barrett. He wrote a worship song called Good, Good Father out of Atlanta. I used to go to a church there. And I met up for coffee with him in middle school. Probably like 13 or 14. And I remember sitting there, we were having a conversation. He was like, well, tell me about, you know, tell me about what you're learning. You know, I'm 3 years into learning how to play guitar. It's like, man, I'm trying to work on my ear, I think is what I said. I remember having the conversation. Yeah. It kind of just happened over time. Like, I don't have as good a relative pitch as you do. I mean, you're doing it every day. I can hear basic stuff and, you know, flat sevens and things like that. But did that just kind of develop naturally for you over time?
Well, you got to realize, I had a guy sit me down at a church in Houston where my family went and played. And he was a guitar player that played at that church, and it was a big church, you know, a big money church kind of thing. And he saw something in me, right? And he said, hey, let me show you something. And he said, this was like between services, like in the afternoon or something. He said, have you ever heard of the number system? I said, I've heard of it because I saw it. I saw these guys do it, but I don't know what it means. He said, here it is. And he just sat me down and showed it to me. So by 12, I kind of had the number system down. So, but yeah, it did take time to develop that kind of ear. But, you know, at this point, I'm probably 20 or 30,000 hours in.
Yeah.
And I still have people, they'll say, hey, I want this kind of lick here, and they'll show me something on a record or play me something, and I'll just play it back to them. They're like, yeah, you got that, you know, and I'm just, years of doing it, you're digging your well. I call it, how deep is your well? And that's what I tell young players all the time. It's like, you know, as a session player, you got to have so much knowledge. Because, dude, in 1 week, I remember this week, I went from a metal session to a country session to a Southern gospel session, and then to like this riff rock thing in a week. And it's just like, you got to walk in and go, you can never show anybody in that room that you don't know what you're doing. Even if you don't, you know, you just like, got it, you know, and work it out, you know. You show weakness, you're screwed, you know. Because, you know, as in this career, you're always trying to make the phone ring again.
Right.
Because that's survival. That's how you survive. So,
what would you say, like, what did the transition of going from digging your well to being a prominent session player in Nashville? I mean, obviously that takes the span of a career, but like, what did that look like in the early days?
Yeah, well, you're never. I'm always digging the well.
Mm-hmm.
That's perpetual. So, the transition was, I just started getting calls.
Like, did you move to here when you turned 18? Did you move here after college?
I did. I never set foot in college until I dropped my oldest kid off at his dorm.
Oh, really? No way. That's amazing.
It was the first dorm I saw was his, and I was like, this looks like a jail cell, man. What the hell?
I'm out of here.
Dropping my kid off here?
I'm going to play bass.
Right.
Getting out of here. So, yeah, what did that look like?
I think the transition was, I moved here in 1990, so I'm starting my 36th year here of just playing bass, which that is miraculous, But, a lot of the times when you start working and you start integrating into the system, you're digging your well while you're working, because early on you get calls for, hey, can you come play on this demo for me for nothing? I have no money. Yes, I will. And you go crush it, hopefully. But if they call you back, you go, okay, now you got to pay me, So, but you're always, I don't know if there's a defined transition from digging that well, because it's just perpetual, all of it. It's like, dude, if I ever stop learning, throw dirt on me, man. It's over. I love learning new stuff.
So is that what you would say has carried you in learning all the different styles? I mean, are there styles you don't like to learn but have willed yourself to do it?
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know if I could do that.
Yeah, well, if it's survival.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
true.
Because it's like I work 5 days a week. I leave my house at 9 o'clock, and most of the time I get home at 10 o'clock. So, and I'm at a studio somewhere.
Right.
That whole time. Sometimes I'm at 3 studios, because sessions are 10 to 1, 2 to 5, 6 to 9. So sometimes they're all 3 in the same place, sometimes all 3 in different places. So it's,
How do you keep your creative engine full? Not run out of new ideas, new material. Like,
that's a great question. So I just started this about 5 years ago.
Okay.
Because of the volume of work I do, and you find yourself out of laziness kind of going for the same thing. It's like, oh, I do this run up to the 6 minor, or I do this, So, and this just started yesterday. So now every January 1st, I will pick something I do a lot, and I can't do it this year.
Ooh, that's a great idea.
So whatever it is, it's like, and I'll instinctively, be on the session, and I'll wait. That's my no-no. I have to come up with something new for that move. I cannot do that this year at all. And it's tough, because you get it so ingrained over just the daily grind of playing 12 hours a day.
Do you have one for this year?
I got an idea. I haven't defined it yet.
Okay.
There's a couple candidates that might be put on the back burner.
And you
for
keep them to
26.
yourself, though, right?
Oh, yeah. I don't tell anybody.
I figured.
Because that way, if I get lazy and I just can't think of something.
Then you can't get caught.
Right. Nobody's going to bust me but me. Yeah.
That was one thing that was just so awesome about my studio experience with you, was that, you were a natural leader, like watching you in the room.
Yeah.
Like, obviously Monroe's the producer, but you, in a way, co-produced that session because of how much you led the other
players.
players.
Can we tell Monroe that right now? I'm just kidding.
Yeah. No, it was just really neat to
kidding.
see like how many ideas you offered, and you just naturally assumed leadership, which is cool. And I want to get into that too.
Yeah.
Like, does that make sense? Like, that's no surprise for me saying that, right? To you, that's no surprise.
It's no surprise, and that took a long time for me to build, because it's you want to throw ideas out on a session, especially if I know something's wrong. But again, music is subjective, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what's wrong to me may not be wrong to you. So you have to be aware of all that kind of stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I lead. There's in the session world, there's always a leader on the sessions. So, and that's the guy that usually, a lot of times he'll call the players, write the charts beforehand, which I think I did on both you guys, right? Yeah. So, so once you get into that, where my ears develop so much that I can chart a song, and Everybody here can. Some guys are better at it than others.
And for people that are listening that don't know what we're talking about, that is taking a song and listening through it and numbering the chords and basically writing the music for it without writing like what you know is like a staff music.
Exactly. I call it the shorthand sketch. It's a beautiful system because the way we write them, it's in blocks. So I can say, the verse is 6 bars. I know instantly. And if somebody comes in and says, hey, we got to do a female version, it's going to be up a fourth. No problem.
Right.
I don't have to rewrite the chart. We just notate what key it's in. All right, count it off. It's all good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like you have to work up kind of the rapport with Monroe and I have spent 20 years in the studio together. In fact, he was one of the first guys that started calling. He called me in '92 for the first session. Jimmie Lee Sloas, my mentor, couldn't do something, and he recommended me to Monroe.
He's a bassist, right?
He's a badass bassist.
Yeah.
And a dear friend. And no kidding, I would not be sitting here were it not for him. And I've told that many times, but totally fostered me and cultivated me into this town. Amazing.
What does that look like for a bass player?
Like
You said his name is Jimmie?
Jimmie Lee Sloas. Yeah.
So Jimmie being your mentor, like, did he give you tips and tricks on how to play bass or where to sit in a session, or?
No, it wasn't
just
that
kind of
as
presence?
much. It was. I told this story last night at this bass player's hang, but I'll give you the super Cliff Notes version of it. But he had come to my house in Illinois. I grew up on a farm in Illinois, and my brother and I had a studio in the basement of this house. And through another friend, Jimmie and a few guys wanted to bring this band up there and get away from Nashville, just do something different. And they were kind of trying to start this country band, so they came up there to record. I didn't know any of them. Well, Sloas was the bass player, and he and I hit it off. I'll tell you this, man. It's like I knew they were coming, and I thought I was a badass bass player. In my town of Olive Branch, Illinois, I was the best bass player. I was the only bass player, but I was the best. And I thought, we'll see how good this guy is. See him, Jimmie Lee Sloas, whoever this guy is, whatever. And when they came in, I was out playing a club when they set up, and they set up and got ready, and they were going to come in and track the next morning. I get home at 4 o'clock in the morning or whatever after a club gig. It just so happens the vent, the HVAC vent from the studio goes right up to the 3rd floor of the house, which is where my bedroom is. So they all start, I'm still sawing logs, and they start coming in at 9 o'clock or whatever. Jimmie Lee picks up his bass and they're getting tone, and he just starts boom, boom, and I was like, I sat up in bed and was like, holy shit.
I'm vibrating.
Who is this guy? So I got to go down there and sit with those guys, and these were heroes. I'd read their names on records many times already, and Sloas took a liking to me. So he just started bringing me to town, come hang out at this session. And what the story is, and this is good for anybody, whatever you do in this business. Jimmie had me come into a session where he was overdubbing bass, right? So it was Jimmie, producer, artist, engineer, and me, right? And it was old building on Music Row. The studio was at the top floor, so I get there. I drove down from Illinois to witness this session. 4 hours, right? I drive down, 6 p.m. session. I go up the elevator. I get out, walk in the studio. Jimmie sees me, hey, man, come on, and everybody, I meet everybody. And I just sit on the couch in the back of the room and just start observing. Back then, Jimmie mostly did overdubs, he didn't, I guess he tracked a lot, but he liked to sit in the control room, is what I'm trying to say. He didn't wear headphones. He'd like to get in front of the speakers and crank it, just rock. Crushed this song, right? And so then the producer says, hey, we want to do one more song, and Jimmie, we really want that, the slapping, popping thing, this was way back, and it was way in right then. He said, I know you're really good at that. We want you to shine on this song. We want this to all be about you. I want you to crush it, so Jimmie, let me hear this song. So he listens and, let me hear it again. Listens. He looks at the guys and he says, guys, I want to take this song to the moon for you. Like he and I'm quoting, I want to take this song to the moon for you. This song, it's a master. I can hear it. It's a masterpiece, He said, but I don't have what I need here right now for this. I just don't have what I need. And I just don't want to miss it on this song. I don't want me not having what I need. And I'm sitting back there going, what the hell does he need? What's going on? I'm just fly on the wall back there. And so So it's like, I swear to you guys, it's like he had a clay in his hands, and he was just molding these guys, and they were just hook, line, and sinker. He had them just where he wanted them, you know? And so they were like, oh, thank you, man. Thank you for telling us, and we'll reschedule to do this. He was like, okay, great. Because he had already told me we'll go grab a bite afterwards. And so we walk out of the studio, shake hands, and we get, and keep in mind, Jimmie Lee brought a bass with no case, right? He's just walking in with a bass. We get in the elevator, him and I. He's standing on his bass, and I can't wait for the elevator doors to close. And zoom, Jimmy, what do you need? I mean, what is it you need? And he was like, oh, man, these strings are a little dead. I just need to boil these strings and come back some other time. I was just like, and so I'm sitting there going, and I said to him, I said,
you need to boil the strings?
Yeah, we boil bass strings. Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that was a thing. Yeah. Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's better than new strings. New strings on bass kind of suck.
Yeah. So you drop them in water?
Yeah,
and
you just get the water boiling, take them off, and drop them in there for 15 minutes or so, and then dry them off, put them back on. It doesn't bring them to new, but it livens them up a little bit, you know. So
you put them on, kind of wear them out a little bit, and then re-break them in?
Yeah, well, you don't have to break them in. It's just a matter of getting the sweat out of the grooves of the strings.
Wow.
It just cleans them, yeah.
You said 5 minutes? You just boil them for 5 minutes?
Usually you get them covered with water, and when it starts uncovering the string, that's when you pull them out.
Oh.
Now, is that a thing that like all bass players know? Pretty much?
There's quite a few that know it. Yeah.
Okay,
Now they will.
Like
now they will.
Yeah. But anyway, Jimmy, he's just like, no, I just, this is not the right thing for this.
Yeah.
And I was just going, I said, the psychology of what I just witnessed, I had no idea that was a part of this. And he went, oh, yeah.
It's like,
now let's go to dinner.
I need to learn your power and your ways.
So it was a huge lesson. So.
Yeah.
So his mentorship is really what kind of started your leadership, led you in a way?
His mentorship started my leadership? No. Okay. I think the experience of just sessioning over and over and watching other guys lead and then producing some projects myself where you really get into the weeds of what makes a song.
Yeah.
That's what honed my skills for that. And there are times, man, there are times when guys talk too much. Leaders try to overlead. That's never good. I try to never do that. If I even feel I'm approaching that, I stop, back off,
Read the room.
Read the room, man.
That's half of it.
Boom. And again, back to the psychology. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Rob had mentioned if he was going back, he was like, I would have gotten a degree in psychology. That's what I would have done.
I would have done that, and I would have taken acting classes.
Acting? Why?
Because, there are times, man, when you're sitting in a room and you're just having to work on a song that's, you're trying to make it
Killing
great.
You.
Sometimes it's just not there.
Yeah.
Not very often in this town, but
it happens.
Yeah, and I'm not like a schmoozer kind of like I'm not going to kiss somebody's ass and tell them something that's not true.
Just survive it.
Survive it, but you have to find something to make them feel good. And
so what was the thing that made you feel good about Williams' project?
Hadn't figured it
out. That's awesome.
No, and that's super rare, but
only once that year.
Yeah, only once.
It was you.
Yeah. You win. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. The psychology is very, very important in what we do.
You mentioned producing. Where in the 36 years did you start kind of getting on the production side? Where has that led? What projects you working on? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so it started probably 2000, somewhere in there, where I just started noticing. Like, I would be sitting on a session, and we run a track, boom, we stop. I'm waiting for the comments in the room. And in my mind, I'm making the comments that I think are wrong. Right? In my mind, I'm going, here's what I would do. I would do this. I would shorten this. I would cut the intro in half. Whatever, all those things. And many times, it's exactly what the producer would say. And so I'm going, maybe I have a shot at this, And it's hard to take that step and to sit in the driver's seat, because most of the time I'm actually playing bass, too, on the stuff I'm producing. But I ended up with a partner for a while in my studio, and he was a Grammy-winning engineer, and so we co-produced together. And that was fun. It kind of fizzled out in a not-so-good way, but the first project I produced by myself after that combo was terrifying because it was like, okay, it's all me. So I got to knock this out of the park. So, and I think I did, but, you know, for what it was a little folk record. It wasn't, you know, just me and the guy doing most of it. Mm-hmm. But did I serve him, right? Because that's the goal. Did I serve him in his songs well? And he was over the moon about it. So the answer is yes, you know. And I love it. I love the process. I mentioned Sinclair to you guys. You know, that Sinclair is an artist that's here in town, and she and I co-produced a record on her. And it's in my top 3 of favorite projects ever.
What's the
It's called
album name?
God Forbid.
God Forbid.
Yeah. And the thing is she is an incredible bass player, right?
Yeah, there was. I think during our session, you told me she lives in on one of your properties or something like that. What's the kind of quick?
Yeah,
on
so
that?
My wife and I have a few rental properties here in town. One in Columbia. That's a good question because how we met. It's just so freaking weird.
So Nashville.
So Nashville, man. So we buy this little cottage in Columbia. It's, you know, similar. It's a cool old cottage, very small, and just took a chance on it, you know. And we're down there kind of cleaning it up and getting it ready to put on the market. And my wife puts it on the market, right? And my studio's upstairs. She's got a little office downstairs, so we're 2 floors away, you know. And she's going through this and getting ready to pop it up online. This is about 8:00 one morning. By 9:00, we had 56 calls.
God.
It was crazy.
Rent's too low.
And she's going, and a guy knocking on the door. We were there cleaning up. A guy popped by, and he knocked on the door, and we opened it. He said, "Are you guys about to rent this place?" We'd already found, this is at the end of this story, but we'd already found them. And I said, "No, man, we've already found somebody." And he literally was almost in tears.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's just because the housing boom here, you know, it's just been crazy. Everybody moving. So anyway, she puts on the market 56 calls. So she texted me and she said, "How do we pick?" I said, "Start doing the background checks, you know, alphabetical. I don't know." So a couple hours later, I'm up there doing a track for somebody, just me in my studio, and an email pops up from her, says, "Check this out." So I click on it's a YouTube link, and what pops up is this girl in front of a microphone, and she's got instruments around her, and she starts building this song, right? Boom, cool.
Like on a loop?
Yeah, looper.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. And she's boom, boom, she tambourine, does this little loop, and hand claps, and I'm like, oh, what's happening? What's going on? But then she picks up a bass, boom, and she plays this amazing. And as a pro, she's playing it. And tonight, this is not bullshit.
Yeah.
She's rocking it, and I'm just like, well, who? And I'm calling my wife. I'm like, who is this? And then she starts singing, and it melts me. It's so good, you know. She said she wants to rent our house. I said, give it to her.
Yeah.
It was over right then. So fast forward then to when we're out there to meet them to get a contract or whatever. And she's married to a girl, Natalie, and she's awesome too. She's an artist, painter artist, and we just love them. It's like they're our nieces or something.
Yeah,
you know?
creative
we're that
nieces.
Close. Yeah,
yeah.
We're that close. So they walk up the sidewalk. And they're just all smiles, and it's just we hit it off. And I wanted to, when they came to the house that day to sign the contract, I wanted to go, hey, you want to come to my studio and write something? You know, I wanted to attack her. You know, it's like her quality is so good, but I was cool. I didn't say a word. Come to find out, she knew that I had toured with Keith Urban. There's a video of that tour she'd watched 1,000,000 times as almost a kid.
That is crazy.
Yeah,
so did she even know before that moment?
I'm not sure when she put it together.
You need to ask her that.
Yeah.
We'll have to ask her when she comes on.
She did put it together. And so finally, after maybe 6 or 7 months, I just said, hey, I got a super cool studio over here. You can have it. Anytime you want it, you want to produce. She produces a lot of stuff. If you ever want it, it's yours.
She was probably like...
So she came over to check it out.
Yeah.
And she started, I gave her a key. I was like, you take this key, you walk in here anytime you want. If I'm not using it, it's yours. So she had a few people come over and cut some vocals there, and she's like, you know, starting to use it a little bit. I walked in one day as she was finishing up, and she came over to me and she said, will you help me do a real record on me? And I was like, yes, I will. Because she'd never done a full-length record.
Yeah.
She'd only done singles. And we cut her, I think it was her, I think she'd done an EP, but not ever a 10, you know. So we started collaborating on that record that I'm very, very proud of. Really a fun record.
Awesome.
Oh, and so she's a killer bass player, right? So I said to her, I want you to play bass on this. I'll just kind of produce or whatever, play guitar. I don't care. And she said, no, I want you to play bass on this. I really want to concentrate on playing and singing and producing, you know, and getting it right. And so, but I'm telling you guys, my hand to God, she sent me demos that I was charting, you know, like we talked about, for when the guys come over to track. And I'm sending it to the guys. I didn't know if she would approve this or not, but some of the musicians, I'm like, dude, check this shit out. We're going to be playing. It's going to be so cool. And I copped her bass stuff. On a few songs, pretty much verbatim. Just got the tone super cool and the moves super cool, but a lot of it's her, you know. A couple songs, she didn't have any bass on the demo or whatever, and I got to do my thing, you know. But
that's so awesome.
Yeah, she's a very gifted person.
And you're playing. You said you've been touring with her every now and then too.
No.
Oh, okay.
We've played a few shows in town.
Okay.
Like 3 maybe.
Yeah.
3 or 4.
Nice.
And I've got to play with her, and it's fun.
That's.
Yeah, but I have a Tom Petty cover band. We're playing tonight, and she opens for us every time we play, pretty much. And she comes up and does "Stop Dragging My Heart Around." She does the Stevie Nicks part and crushes it. And then the last time we played together, I called her privately and said, hey, on Running Down a Dream, you know, that's the last song of our set, you know, the big culmination of the show. I said, just walk up there, and I'm just going to hand you my bass, and I'm going to walk out and listen. And you play it. And I didn't tell any of my band guys, you know. So she's standing there, and we get to that song. She runs up there, and I just hand her my bass and run off stage. And everybody's looking around like, what the hell? And she crushed it. She just crushed it, you know. So it was really fun. It was a fun moment.
Where are you playing tonight?
3rd and Lindsley.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Is that where y'all usually play?
I'll VIP you.
Yes, please. I'd love to.
Is that where y'all usually play?
We played there and a couple other places around town. You know.
Yeah, y'all played over here in Germantown at one point.
That was Sinclair.
Yeah, that was Sinclair.
That was Sinclair, yeah.
Yeah.
Which one? Where?
That was called the...
It's right here.
Oh, 5th and Taylor?
Yeah,
it's right there.
That's
whatever
a cool
that
little room.
club. It was a cool room.
It's like a mini club.
Yeah.
It is.
It feels like.
It reminds
really
me of
tight.
Germany, those little clubs
Yes.
in Europe.
Boom, boom.
Yeah.
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 Discotheque.
So would you say that producing has that, the way that you're describing that, sounds a little bit like it's kind of a post-career career, but sitting between hobby and pro?
Yes.
Like, what would you say?
Post-career career, yeah. I'm not looking to be the next hot producer.
Yeah.
I just enjoy the hell out of it.
Yeah.
So I love that process of helping to build the songs, you know, scheduling the guys, getting the catering ready and all that. I love the service of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm actually about to finish a record I did for a guy named Greg Hodge. He's a longtime friend of mine. He's had a couple of health issues, and he was always sending me songs. I'd play on demos for him occasionally. I played in his showcase when we were 23, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So we've known each other that long. But we recently reconnected, and he's sending me all these killer songs. He's kind of stuck in an era. Like, he's very 80s. Like, that's how he writes. And I think everybody else is always trying to say, let's try to modernize this. I said, screw that. Let's go there.
Yeah,
Let's do an 80s record. So I called Dann Huff, Chris McHugh, and Greg, the artist, played all the key stuff, and I played bass, and it's incredible. You know, it's been so fun, like getting gated snares and shit back, you know?
Yeah.
So,
like pulling out a Lynn drum.
Yeah, right. Exactly, man. Yeah, for sure. So
That's really neat.
See, those are the kinds of...
It's still a hobby,
Yeah.
you know, but I love it. I really love the process. So
What's your average, like, number of sessions in the past 3 years, year over year? What would you say?
Per year?
Yeah.
Well, if you look at it this way, there's a possible of 3 per day, 5 days a week, so that's 15 a week. That's pretty normal for me. So do the math.
God.
700, 600.
That's insane, man.
It's hustle, bro.
How much sleep do you get normally?
Well, I'm a chronic insomniac, so I'm not the right guy to ask.
Are you not an early morning person?
You said 5 to 10.
What's that?
You said you get up at 5 and you get bed at the house at 10?
Oh, no. I leave the house at 9.
Oh, okay.
And get back at 10.
I got
So
you.
I'm usually gone 12 hours.
Okay.
No, and I'm not the guy that can lay down and go, like my wife, man. I was like, how do you do that? She's
Yeah, it's like lay down and pass
go
out.
to bed, and it's like, I might have the TV on for a minute. She'll go, I'm going to go to sleep. And I'm just like, How do you do
Well,
that?
do you
I
need to
can't do that.
decompress?
Yeah, there's a lot of wheels spinning. up
Yeah,
there.
that's how I am. I can't just.
I will lay in bed and watch TV for probably 2 hours.
Yeah.
Before I start dozing.
Right.
If I'm not medicated, like Ambien.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is for a guy that can't sleep. I haven't had it in a long time, but to be able, like when I'm on the road, I have to have it.
I've had
on
it.
a loud bus or something.
I've had it one time, and I was given a half an Ambien by my dad.
What'd you do?
I was talking to my dad because I was just going through a time,
Right.
and he was like, you know what, you need to sleep. I'm gonna give you like a half an Ambien.
He's a doctor.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And
The drug dealer.
Can I get his number?
and we just started talking I was back home. We were talking in the living room, and all of a sudden I was like, am I living right now? I'm a zombie.
It's weird, isn't it?
Why should I be talking right now? I should be asleep. And it's just bam. I slept for 13 hours, I think. It was
Yeah, I've
Dude,
never
on the
never
road,
done that.
you took a half?
half.
I take 2 on the road.
Woo!
Yeah.
Man.
See, I've never taken Ambien. Sounds like a good time.
So a buddy of mine that's a producer, a Christian music producer, he and I have talked about it. He takes it every night, And I was with him on a session one day, and he said, dude, this Ambien thing, man, I don't know. I said, what happened, man? He said, dude, I took an Ambien, went to bed, get up the next morning, 8 o'clock, and he said, I walk in the kitchen, and on the table, there's like Taco Bell, empty shit bags everywhere, and he's just like going, what is this? He said, I walk around, the receipts laying on the table. It's like 4 a.m. He drove to a Taco Bell,
Yeah.
ordered food, ate all of it, and has no memory of it.
That's scary. Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, man, I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
I can get it if you really need to sleep, but man, when I took that I was like, okay, I can figure out a way to.
yeah,
Is that Ed Cash?
close. Like, no.
All right, we won't out the
I don't
Ambien man.
if he was here, he would go
He'd
for
go
it.
for it.
He- I won't tell you his initials, or his name.
Yeah.
His initials are Ben Glover. Anyway,
There you go. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
That's
oh, that's
awesome.
funny. It's so funny.
So going back to your story, when did you get to Nashville, and tell us about like what felt like your big start? Was it pretty much right away? What were your challenges? Who got you? And
Yeah, like early day stuff. You said you moved here in 1990,
Yep.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So was it pretty quick that you were finding sessions and consistently?
It was pretty quick.
Yeah.
I had the advantage of moving here with a gig.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you've heard the Imperials. They were a Christian group, very popular back in the day. In fact, they sang with Elvis way, way back. And Jimmie Lee, again, was playing for them. And I had another friend that was running front of house for them. So Jimmy left. He had to leave. He was doing more sessions, so he pulled out. He recommended me. I came down on audition and got the gig, right?
Oh, so he was your first then? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't make that.
And Jackie Street, another great bass player. God rest his soul. He passed away in 2010, I think. I mean, these guys, man, it's like, I don't sense that as much now. Like, it was such a fostership, town. It was like, these guys were so confident in what they were doing in their work.
What do you think changed?
Well, I think people started coming from different areas. It's like this is the city now. It's like New York and L.A. We don't have that. What we have here, they don't have there.
So do
That's
you
why
think
they're moving here.
Kind of the
Right.
Do you think the culture's kind of gotten watered out a little bit?
Yeah,
I mean, it's
and I
a little
think-
scary to say and admit out loud, but is that?
Sure it is. Yeah, I think there are people moving here now that are established in other cities. Like they're not moving here, building their establishment.
I see.
You know what I mean? So they come here with different motives and different ways of doing things. Like for me, when I moved here, I had read Jackie Street, Sloas, Tommy Sims, all these guys on records. My goal wasn't to dethrone them. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm not even, to be mentioned in their presence was
Cool.
wow.
Yeah.
So dethroning or taking things from them was not even on my radar, dude.
And it can't be to survive here.
Yeah, and it was just it was complete respect, looking through the lens of respect at them, but they were so good and confident, not cocky, just
good.
They saw me play and they're going, dude, have you checked out this Hill kid, this kitty kid? He's really good. He's got the goods. In fact, Tommy Sims told me, he said, Jimmie Lee called me and said, have you heard this kid Hill? He's got it.
Right.
And I still have that text from Tommy where he told me
That's awesome.
And I'm just like, what the, are you kidding me? Those guys are talking about me, It's like, I just got off a tractor, Swear to God, that's what I did. I was on a farm. So, it was never, and I sense that now there's more of a guarding your work and guarding your dog bowl,
Do you think that comes from the champion mentee side or mentor side, or does it come more from the mentee, that young stock generation? Like, it's probably both.
I just think it's a different way of doing business.
Yeah.
And I think that people are moving here now to take. Does that make sense?
Yeah. To share in the pool.
Yeah, and I don't know.
Do you think it also happens just to do with, like, Nashville's a very creative, competitive town.
It is.
And it's also cheaper to live in areas than LA.
Of course. Of course.
That's
COVID.
That's part of it.
COVID brought a whole slew of, and it's free. We don't own anything here. It's like that's you can do that. I did, and I'm sure there were guys when I moved here going, oh, here's another one,
But it sounds like what you're saying is a little bit more specific. It's not Nashville and Tennessee and people moving here. It's specific to music and how the culture is changing.
For sure. And I don't think it's just music. I think that it's society as a whole.
I agree with that.
The way things are going now. It's different. And I have a couple of kids, guys that I work with that I'm nurturing. But I have to know that their mode of operating is not what I'm describing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because if I sense that in you, I'm not helping.
Right.
I'm not going to help, But there's this kid named Brody Cahoot, I think is his last name. North Carolina kid. He's 17 years old. And he reached out to me, and he's the sweetest kid. Did I mention he's 17 years old, and he's already got to hang out at sessions with guys on my level.
Mm-hmm.
He gets to sit and watch, and he's asking all the right questions.
Like what?
Like, why did you pick that bass for this song? Not, how can you get me a gig?
Mm-hmm.
He's going in the proper channel of doors, and it's like, why did you choose to play that? Why did you play that busy thing there?
So you think a lot of that's gotten missed or is getting missed?
I just think that we live in a society now that everything is instant.
Yeah.
And you can't do this instantly. There was a kid I tried to help way back, and I will not mention his name, but I brought him to my house, and I tried. I was like, I recorded him, and I showed him visually, because you can see what you're doing now, right? Mm-hmm. Which is good and bad, but I showed him what he was doing wrong. And he just says, I just want to be working. I'm like, you have to fix this first. He just wanted it now. And I'm like,
the creative struggle is part of it.
Your well is shallow, brother. And that's first, But this other kid, he's asking the right stuff. And just, I can tell by his commitment to coming to town from North Carolina. He brought his family to meet me. I sat down with them at lunch, and said, here's the things to watch out for. There's drugs, if he's out on a tour, it's out there, and, I don't do that kind of stuff, but it will be offered.
Right.
Is he ready? Is he ready to look somebody in the eye and go, I'm not doing that shit.
Right.
I don't care what you think about me. I'm not doing it, So I've always maintained that throughout my career, as a whole. So.
Yeah. So for, let's just say like a 18-year-old or anybody that's learning to play bass, and maybe they're just musically inclined, they're not a professional, they're not getting gigs yet, but they're just they got the itch and they're like learning bass.
Dreaming about it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What would you say to them to start learning now, or how would you prioritize learning? Or another way to think about it is, if you were to go back and learn bass from what you know now, what would you prioritize learning? How would you start?
Are you asking like chops, like literally learning bass, or like advice moving to Nashville?
I would say learning bass first, yeah. Yeah.
I would have to combine those two.
Okay.
Because that's what he's wanting to do. He's wanting to get good enough or whoever it is, yeah.
Yeah.
They're getting good enough here where they can get into the pool, right?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what not to do. And this is going to sound like old guy, you kids get off my lawn kind of thing. But everybody's learning by watching now. That's a huge detriment to being a great player because they're watching YouTube videos. They're seeing how they're doing it. When I was learning, it was literally putting a needle on a record, and I'm figuring it out. And my way of playing it might be different than how he's actually playing it, but I don't know that.
Right.
So it's helping me develop my own way of getting there.
So don't watch.
Don't watch. I mean, it's fine. It's fine.
Or at least spend some
do
time.
both.
Yeah. Do both.
Use your ear. Don't use your eyes to develop your sound. You
Yeah.
know. And I'll tell you what I told him. I sat him down at a table and I said, "Listen, man, because of your age, and I got to keep going back to he's 17 freaking years old, right? He's got the advantage of time,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So I said, here's what, and I'd still do this to this day. I will pick a bass player, whoever it is, if I have a day off, which is pretty rare. Sometimes I'll do it early in the morning before I leave. I'll do a deep dive on a bass player and be like, okay, today it's Chuck Rainey. What did Chuck play on? Pull up 5 songs and just listen to what he's doing and try to incorporate that into what I do that day. Like, is this going to open up a new whatever in your brain, where you go a new place? And again, it's like that first of the year thing where I go, I'm not doing that anymore. This thing I do every day, I'm putting that on the back burner. What can I do that Chuck did, or my version of what Chuck did, and pull that into the fold for 26? And I might pick 6 bass players and do that, and that's what I told him. I said, because you have this gift of time, and I mean, watch time. Go through the eras, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Pick 3 bass players from each era, right? Deep dive them. Because that is going to dig your well immediately without having to do much work. Really. Pick those bass players and from each era. And I said, I'm not going to tell you who. You pick them. You find out what you like. And that's what's going to develop your sound. Is
Right.
you're throwing all those guys into a blender and drinking it. It's like, and then it's coming out in you. That's how you dig your well. Right?
That's great advice.
And that can work for writers,
Yeah.
guitar players, photographers. It doesn't matter,
I've done that with singing. That's my fun. That's the fun thing for me.
Yeah.
I dig into that, man.
Dude,
Oof.
it's vital
Yeah.
to dig your well super deep.
Yeah. And that's when I feel like I'm most creative, is when Hill and I talked about this on our last episode, just finding your inspiration and don't just stick with one or two, like find a lot of them, like quote unquote hide your sources.
Yeah.
But
I like that.
I think that's when I find my most creativity, whether it's studying a voice or reading lyrics or whatever it is. Like, man, that's it. Or reading a book, that's when I feel most creative. It's not like I'm going to do nothing and something's going to hit me. For me, I like input. I like some kind of input.
Totally.
Even though there's a lot of input these days, a lot of noise.
Totally. Some good,
Yeah.
some not so good.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think for me, the big question right now is just how to get through the noise. If that's one of the goals, like how do you want Sinclair's album that you produce to,
Pop off.
to pop off,
Mm-hmm.
like that's the question everybody's trying to figure out too, in a way. Some people don't care as much. But,
Sort of. Could
Yeah.
I interject you?
Yeah.
Because I think that a lot of the industries move that direction where it's like, and I might be going on a ledge here. I don't want to put you in opposition at all, but just look at it over the last 40 years. Like we've moved, the industry's changed so much. How we consume music has changed. How we make it has changed. It's also, like you mentioned, fast. And like when you look back on all these like 70s, 80s records, there's so much complexity to the music.
Well, and they spent a year making it.
it.
Right.
Yeah.
So
So
it's a valid point.
But
Yeah.
I think
Very valid point.
it's one thing to be a session player and, you build up that rapport. It's another thing to be an artist that's trying to make money? Is it just off of touring, right? Is that strategy?
Dude, that's so hard. I mean, being an artist today, it's tough.
Yeah.
Because you do get lost in the noise.
Yeah.
For me, I think you have to define what is noise to you. Like for me, when I'm going through the deep dive on bass players, if it's something that's not moving me, I move on. That I guess that's noise to me. And I just kind of move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. How has your work evolved at all in the past, let's say 5 years, if any?
It's super, super busy. I can remember having days off, and I'm not an idle time guy, so if I have a day off, I'm doing something with a guitar or bass in my hand, something, recording vocals on a project. I'm also, do you guys know who Wes King is?
Yes.
He's a Christian artist. I'm producing a record on him right now.
That's awesome.
And we're having a ball, man. He's such a talented guitar player, and a goofball guy in such a fun way. So, like, if I have a day off, I'll call him. It's like, hey, I've got a window. Let's cut guitar and vocal on this, And he's like, I'll be there, So, always got something cooking,
Yeah. That's I bet that's nice for you creatively, too, to go from, session player to where you're kind of working with a little bit more guardrails to maybe then maybe a little bit more of an open-ended project or time.
For sure.
That's got to be good for your brain.
Totally good for my brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I love that.
So I have one thing I have to just remember. I don't want to forget it.
Go.
So Hill and I, we met in college at the University of Georgia. The one, thinking back to my...
Roll Tide.
Yeah.
Oh, God. with the Georgia Cup turned backwards.
I don't care. So it's all good.
But going back through my memory, like the one time I can think of that we first actually hung out for more than 10 minutes was at a Keith Urban concert at Lakewood Amphitheater.
Yeah, Lakewood in Atlanta.
And
he was one of my favorites.
And mine too, growing up. And so when Monroe first told me about you, Monroe obviously knew who my inspiration was growing up. And so, of course, he threw in Keith Urban. And that was I was like, Mark Hill, Keith Urban, like, what the heck? That's all I knew. I was like, okay, he played bass, Keith Urban. But I didn't know at the time that you also were the band director.
Yeah, that was my first one, too.
That is awesome, man.
Yeah.
Like Keith Urban is still an inspiration of mine. Like, can you tell us how you kind of got through that? I'm sure there's going to be some listeners that would love to hear that, too.
Well, so the call came from, take a guess.
Jimmy?
Yeah. He got me the job.
That's awesome.
He was offered the job.
Okay.
And I supported that. I was like, dude, this is he played on all the records, And he took me out to lunch one day. He says, I want you to do the Keith gig. He said, there's a girl that's opening up named Katrina Elam, and she fizzled out of the music industry, but he was producing her records at the time. Jimmy was. And he wanted to play for her and kind of keep nurturing that. So Jimmy and I were going to be on the road together, but I'm in the band, I'm in the headlining act, and he's in the opening act. I'm like, this is not right, man. It's like, this can't be right. And he's like, dude, it's cool. I said, why don't you take the Keith gig? I'll play for Katrina. So, you're still around her. He's like, you take the Keith gig. I turned it down 3 or 4 times because I was sessioning really hard too. And I, it's tough. The mix of live and sessions, it's better now, but back in that day, if a busy session player took a live gig, there was a bit of a penalty box that comes with that.
Like where you get back and you don't get scheduled?
Yeah, and people just hear, the rumor mill goes, and it's like, oh, he's touring with Keith.
He's on the road now.
He's out on the road. Let's call this guy. So you just get overlooked. It's one of the reasons I don't do any social media, because I don't want people to know what I'm doing.
Got it.
If somebody calls me and I'm out, I don't tour anymore, but when I did, if I was out on the road and somebody's like, hey, I need you for 2 days of masters, like, man, I'm already booked.
Yeah.
I never told them what I was booked on. The fact was I was out on the road and I couldn't do it. I didn't tell them that. And I don't post anything on social, so they don't know I'm gone.
Yeah.
And that's super important. Everybody's, again, it's the instant. I'm at Kroger. I'm touring. This is my office for the day, or what? All that shit. It's like,
nah.
I'm hard good. Pass on that. Hard pass on that. But so Jimmy called. So I ended up taking it. The caveat from management, everybody, this was a clean tour. They were calling me because I was a clean, Keith had just got out of rehab.
Yeah.
And they wanted a clean tour. And I had to put together a clean band. And I had this amount of money to work with. And Keith wanted to really notch it up, And so it was very stressful. I mean, I even had one person call me at one point and say, hey, if you're out there with Keith and he launches out for some brown liquor, you need to stop him. And I was like, that ain't my gig, man. Mm-hmm. That's too much
responsibility.
Yeah, it's not what I want to do. Mm-hmm. So, and I think he was clean on that tour. I don't think it was a clean tour, but farm boy, I was to me,
Right.
So, but it was fun. I do know that it was the band crushed it.
So on a high profile tour like that, what goes into being band leader?
Yeah, band leader. It's a lot of organizational skills.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I was one of the first guys that we were using iCal, and that was when they started where you could publish the calendar, right? So
big technological advancement.
Yes, it was huge. So I emailed the whole band the subscriptions out to the Keith Urban Band iCal, and I said bus call times, rehearsal times. Everything's going to be on here. If you miss it, it's on you. So refresh, it's whatever you have to do to refresh your iCal. I think you had to manually refresh at that point or something. It's there. So I was one of the first guys that did that, and it was pretty cool. Obviously helping Keith with setlist, but hey, you guys are artists. I mean, you know how that's going to go. It's like, hey Keith, why don't we do this right here? That's crazy, mate.
No.
Yeah. No. That sounds like ass. That was a common one. And, I remember sitting on the bus with him one time and early in the tour, we just probably done 2 or 3 shows and I was on his bus. We were talking about the set list. It wasn't right yet. And it was in the fall of the year, so it had already gotten dark outside. So we're sitting there and he's pen in hand working on the set list. And I'm like, what do we put this there? And I just happened to glance out the window. And it's the movie Field of Dreams with the cars? Mm-hmm. That's what it looked like, coming to see him. Mm. And I'm just looking out the window, and he was like, well, what if we put it there? And I said, hey, Keith, check it out. Mm. I said,
I don't think it matters.
No, they're coming here to see you.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just, it was a moment for me. I was like, what does that feel like? And he's like, oh, mate, I don't want to think about it. What about if we put this on? He just right back to it,
Right.
But I'm just looking out the window, this line of cars coming around the bend, to come see him play. I was like, pretty cool.
Now,
so it was a lot of that stuff. It was organization, making sure the band, knows what sound check times are, when's catering, all that stuff. Charts early, background vocals, who's singing this, who's singing that,
Yeah.
So, insider question, I should know this, but because Jerry Flowers was around during the ranch, right?
Yeah.
So did he do all the recording? And you were...
No, Jimmie Lee did all the recording.
Okay.
Or most of it. I think Glenn Worf was on some of the early stuff, bass-wise. But so Jerry was in the ranch with him. I don't know how that disbanded, but then Keith wound up with another band.
Yeah,
and
he's gone through a couple of evolutions.
Of course. And you know what, man? I get that.
Yeah,
I totally get that. I think it's a good way to freshen things up. I think people should do that.
I do too. Yeah.
But Jerry Flowers came back when I left, and he was there for 20 years.
Right.
So, I mean, that's a freaking career.
Yeah. Now he's writing songs.
And he's always written songs. And he and I are good pals. In fact, he and I and Sloas and Chris McHugh went to dinner before Christmas just to hang out.
That's great.
And it's just talk about old times and what's going on with you, what you're doing these days. So, but the band Keith had, I don't know if they used, I don't, all I know is my phone rang.
Right.
Put a band together, and these guys are going. And I felt bad for those guys, but that wasn't really my call. Mm-hmm. I just said, okay, here's my price. That's where I started. Here's my price to be band leader. This will be interesting. This is some good insider information. Keith will never remember this, but so the girl called me, the business people, and she said, so what are you thinking? I had said I would do it. Now we're going to talk business,
Right.
And proof that even in the music business, you have to negotiate. You have to be there. So I hit her with my price, and
I play the bass a hell of a lot better than that.
Right. I am worth so much more than that. So she said, okay, yeah, I'll run that, up the flagpole. 2 or 3 days go by, and I'm at dinner with a buddy of mine. I remember where I was, Go 10 on West End, this Japanese place. We were sitting at the whatever.
Hibachi.
Yeah, that. It's very racial. Whatever.
Oh, man.
Cut that out. And my phone rang. Of course, back then it was just it was before smartphones and shit. But it said Keith. You just said his name, and I was like, "Oh, it's Keith Urban calling." I grab it, and he is screaming at me, just like, "What are you thinking, mate? What are these numbers you're throwing around?" And I was like, "Dude, I'm sorry. That's what I make in town. So if you want me to go leave that, and you said you wanted the best band in Nashville, I'm going to do that for you. But you got to pay for it. That's just the way it is." Mm-hmm. And he was like, "Mate, this is not going to work." And I hung up. I mean, it was like, "Okay, I'm so sorry. I can't." So I left, and I sat back down with my buddy. I was like, "Man, I'm not doing the tour." It just didn't work out, So it was over for me. I got home, told my wife. She was like, "Oh, she loved Keith. He had come over to the house, and run a couple songs with us. But 3 or 4 days later, I get a call from the business girl. She said, "Here's what we're going to do, man. He wants you to do the tour." And this is never, talk about a fastball, and I'm like, or a screwball. I'm going, well, I didn't see that one coming. She said,
I'm hooked.
We're going to give you this amount to pay the band every night. You can take 98% of it and pay them too. We don't care. This is what you have to work with. So I hired Chris McHugh, which was another mentor of mine, Chris Rodriguez. I had to have a guy that could sing above Keith and could play guitar. Jimmie and I were talking about the player, Jimmie Sloas, when I was starting to put it together, and I said, "Jimmie, we got to have a high singer." He said, "Yeah, who are you thinking?" I said, "I only know one guy, Chris Rodriguez." And he said, "Hang up and call him right now." So I did. But here's the funny thing.
He didn't negotiate, did he?
No, he didn't have to. I did for him.
True.
So I hung up the phone. I called Chris Rodriguez. At this point, the band has not been fired, so I can't tell anybody who this is for. So I get Chris on the phone and say, "Hey, Raj, man, what you got going on this fall?" This is probably June. It's a fall tour. He said, "Man, I don't have anything right now." I said, "How do you feel about singing some super high parts and playing some fun guitar?" I said, "In fall." He said, "I'm intrigued." I said, "Well, here's the caveat. I can't tell you who it is, but you're going to be singing high and playing some really fun guitar stuff." And he said, "How's Keith Urban doing these days?" I was like, "Pretty good. Pretty good." So he knew immediately.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So, but they gave me a lump sum to pay the band, and I had to make it work.
And was it reasonable compared to the first thing you asked for?
Yeah, it was reasonable. Okay. I just had to chop.
He kept 98% of it. That's how it was reasonable.
These guys $100 a show. Yeah. No, but the point is like I got Chris McHugh.
Yeah.
Who's he's
stellar.
He's a giant, and so I had to make sure he was compensated where he would do it.
Yeah,
because Keith really wanted him, And Chris Rodriguez, again, he's played with Amy Grant and Kenny Loggins and all these high-dollar people. Yeah, exactly. So I got to make sure they're compensated, So I will say this. Keith opted to keep his keyboard player. We were going for a complete sweep.
Okay.
Right? And he wanted to keep his keyboard player. Steve King, sweetest guy on the planet. Really good player. Solid dude, too. He and I wound up being tight out there. But Keith said, I started looking for a keyboard player. And he's like, "Let's keep Steve. Let's keep Steve." And I said, "Great. I'm good with that." Because he respected Steve because Steve was a super Christian guy. And he would witness Keith out there on the road. He said, "There's something about this guy I just love. Yeah. Let's keep him." And so he said, "And by the way, I know what they're doing financially for you about the lump sum. Let's add to that to bring Steve up."
Yeah.
I was like, "Great, man."
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
it's a good story.
It wound up being super cohesive and really fun to do.
I'm glad I asked that. That's an awesome story, man.
That's a great story.
But it was intense, It's like
was that like
a lot of pressure.
Golden Road years?
It was right after that.
Okay.
So the record that was out was called "Be Here."
Okay.
Nice.
And the tour was called "Be Here."
Yeah.
I think. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was the Be Here tour.
There's a great DVD of that, man. And
Yeah,
I got to
there
tell
is.
you.
Wasn't it at Gwinnett?
What?
I think it was at Gwinnett Arena.
No, it was the Wiltern in L.A.
Oh, okay.
Because we shot 2 nights there.
Okay.
And I still have kids today come up, like 20-somethings, come up to me and go, or I guess they'd have to be older than that, but because it was 2004 when all that happened. But they love that. Sinclair.
Yeah.
So you love that DVD. That's the one,
Mm.
you know. And
That's cool.
I got to take credit because I remember being on the bus with Keith, and I said, dude, this is the band you wanted. We should shoot this. We should shoot it sometime. And he was like, yeah, mate. And it wasn't long after that. It was like, we're going to shoot the Wiltern. It was really cool.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Had it not been for Mark Hill, that may not have existed.
I'm
and all
great.
those
I'm
kids
just-
would not have recognized
I'm
you.
great.
Well, we're going to wrap up here in just a minute. But I think we'll kind of just like 1 or 2 more questions. That's
Yeah.
cool. That's
Go
cool.
for
Yeah,
with you.
of course.
Are there any genres or vibes that you haven't produced yet that you'd be interested in?
That I haven't produced or played on, or both.
Or both. Either one that comes to your mind at all. I know genre is not much of a term. It's a changing
it is.
definition.
I got to say, doing this 80s record with my buddy Greg has
Yeah.
been really fun.
Yeah.
Because I even brought out the old fretless with the octaver, you know, the whole Paul Young thing. Do you guys know about that era at all?
Well, it's kind of that Pinot fretless
Yeah,
thing, right?
totally, man. Totally caught that and did some Peter Gabriel sledgehammery sounding stuff.
Nice.
It was really... And to have Dann Huff in my house,
Yeah.
it was like, you know, I played on Dan's solo record. Are you guys familiar with that?
I'm familiar with it.
Saw that it's a recent drop, right?
It was about a
Couple-
year ago.
Okay. All right, it's been that long.
But we played it live
Yeah.
2 weeks ago.
And Chris played on it too, right?
Chris
McHugh?
No, Jerry
No?
Rowe played on that.
Okay. All right.
But we played it live, and you know, Dan was in Giant. Do you know about that?
Yeah.
Okay, the rock band Giant. Dan was
80s big guitars.
big hair,
giant.
yeah, and he was the lead singer. So we did a Giant set that night too, which was super fun.
That's awesome. He's a killer player.
Oh, dude,
Killer.
Had to have him at my house. I'm even wearing his damn shirt from the gig the other night. So
Love it.
yeah, I'm a company man.
A company man.
But no, I don't think there's any.
That's great. I mean,
The only thing that
producing
like
music.
there's a kind of music that I love that I don't understand.
Oh,
So if I'm out, like say on the weekend, I'm grilling steaks outside. I grill the great steaks at home. Even my kids will go to like whatever Cane Prime. Dad, not yours. You
Yeah,
know,
this
that kind
is
of
your
thing.
claim to fame.
Yeah, I'm
You've
good.
secured your
love
masculinity
that.
in the world. Yeah.
And dude, I have charts for my steaks. I have 2 stopwatches. I mean, it's like
Okay.
full on.
That's kind of William.
Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me when I'm grilling steaks. Don't come out there and start a conversation. I will
Yeah.
blow you off. I'm watching the clock. So, yeah.
So what's the
But
trick?
Well, how much time do we have?
I mean,
Come on.
well,
me-
let's
give me-
do off the
yeah.
record because I got something else.
Oh,
I'd
yeah.
like to see.
Shoot.
Okay. What was the question? Oh, genres. So when I'm out there, I listen to crooners. I love Sinatra,
Okay.
right? I just love it. And I don't understand. Like, to get called to play on something like that would be like, I'm probably not the guy. But strangely enough, what got me into crooners was I was staying at this cabin in North Carolina. Our neighbors have this awesome cabin on the mountain. So they let us stay there a couple times. It's been several years ago. They had a mix CD that was piped through the house, right? A system in the cabin, and the CD deck and some CDs. And I just grabbed one. It said mix. You know, just threw it in there. Bublé comes on. I didn't know who that was, right? And I'm just like, who is this? I love this. And so through that, I started listening to Sinatra, Dean Martin, and all these crooners. I thought that was Christmas music,
Yeah.
but that used to be pop music, right?
Right.
Well, this year I got called to track a week with my Bublé.
Let's go.
Dude, I swear the call came in and I'm sitting there looking at it going, are you shitting me? So I take a picture of the text and I send it to my family because they know I'm a nut for him.
Yeah.
And they're going, are you serious? Is that for real?
Wait, did you already do it, or you already got the?
did it.
Okay.
I already did it, yeah. And we're doing another date in a couple of weeks.
Let's go.
That's awesome.
But it wasn't what you think. It was like, it was...
It was terrible.
No. Dude, hang on. So he loves country music. So he told me, he said, man, I feel like the crooner stuff I do, he said, that's American Songbook #1. He said, I got to go to the opera recently, and I started digging into country music. That's American Songbook #2. So he's doing his favorite country songs his way.
Oh, I love it. I can't wait to hear
And
that.
I cannot tell you guys what a cool dude this is. Like, he walks in a room, and everybody's just like, cannot stop looking at him. He lights up the room. You talk about true artist. He's
got star power.
And I was sitting by him on the couch, and he said, hey, man, what'd you think this was going to be like? What were you expecting? I said, I just didn't want you to be an asshole. He was like, fair enough. Cool, so we're getting along great, The second day he was late. It was a noon start, right? So noon to 6 every day, right? Second day he was late. He got there like 12:40. And so I walk up. You know who Gordon Mote is?
Mm-hmm.
So he's a blind piano player. Incredible. Yeah. And a dear friend of mine. And I come by his house on the way to Music Row, so I'll pick him up, give him a ride. And so he was with me. And so the day he was late, about halfway through the day, Tom Bukovac, great guitar player, great friend, looked over at Bublé and said, hey, Mike, man, just let you know, at noon start. And you were just busting his balls.
Tom said that?
Yeah. And the room just busted out laughing, including Mike. He's just laughing. He's like, I get you, man. So the third day, Tom wasn't there. He couldn't make that day. So I pull in, me and Gordon. I'm carrying Gordon's blind ass in there. We walk up, and he is sitting on the freaking porch, like waiting on us. Like, looking at his watch, and we were early. He was like, guys, see who's here? He said, I've already been here, taking a poop, taking a shower. I'm good to go. It's a funny guy. So he was really cool.
That's awesome.
And one of his best friends is Eric Stonestreet. I don't know if you know who that is. He's the guy from Modern Family.
Okay.
That plays the gay couple.
Yeah.
The bigger guy.
Bigger guy, yeah.
Okay. Cameron.
He's hilarious.
Cameron,
Yeah.
but he's not really gay.
Yeah.
And he's Mike's best friend. He lives in Kansas City. So the second day, Mike was so taken by how fast we work. We've already talked about that. The numbers. He was like, how do you look at that and play that? I don't get that. He said, I'm used to people seeing notes and playing exactly what's on the page. I said, Mike, it's a sketch.
We're cowboys,
Yeah,
man.
We make our shit up.
We're cowboys.
Make it up on the spot, So
That's the open range.
He calls Eric Stonestreet. It's like, because Eric plays drums a little bit. He collects old vintage drum sets, and he's a super cool guy. He said, Eric, you got to come down here and check this out. Watch these guys work. So I walk in the studio that morning, and there's Eric Stonestreet sitting there. And they have set him up a headphone box so he can sit out right between me and the drummer and just
watch.
He's just like, how do you do this, man? He just loved it. So it's super cool.
That is so cool. Now, did he shock you? Was he out of character? Obviously, he'd be out of character. Did that throw you? I've never been with an actor like that.
It is a little daunting, but he was so kind.
Yeah.
It was, and he's not totally different. Mm-hmm. Somebody asked him, they're like, what's it like to play a gay guy with when you're not gay? And he gave us a vulgar answer, which is his stock answer. He told us that one later, but he said, in all honesty, it's my mom. I'm just being my mom. He said, all the hand stuff, that's just all my mom.
That's just my mom.
That's great. It's like, got it.
I just mean like sense of humor. Like in that show, he's got a sense of humor
that was all the same.
Okay, yeah.
Totally the same.
I would think that acting humor would be a little tough.
Yeah.
Completely approachable and like, hey man, let's go grab a cup of coffee, and sit down and talk.
That's always an interesting thing with people who have stage, you know.
Right.
What do you like in person, So, well, do you have any more questions?
I got endless, but I think we're good. We don't want to keep you. Thanks for coming on, man. This was you're like one of our stars that we wanted to have on. So thanks for making the time.
Yeah, it took us a minute to get it scheduled, but we got it.
We got it. We sure did.
Yeah. Oh, and sometime I would love